In the very consequential legal drama surrounding Sean Diddy Combs, a court has formally set a new trial date. What caused the trial to be postponed, and what impact will this have on the defense and prosecution as they prepare for what may turn out to be one of the most intense legal battles in recent memory? The world has already taken notice of this case, and given the latest information, it is clear that the stakes are much higher. Every action will be significant, from the evidence prosecutors intend to present to the defense strategies Diddy's attorneys may employ. Is this new date beneficial to Diddy, or is it just allowing the prosecution more time to make their case? Come analyze the chronology with us. Find out who the key participants are expected to testify and why this trial date shift is so important. The drama, revelations, and potential repercussions that could alter not only Diddy's career but the entertainment industry as a whole are not to be missed.
On Diddy Combs expected back in federal court in Lower Manhattan for a hearing set for this afternoon. Combs' attorneys asking to see more evidence that they say is currently in the hands of federal prosecutors. The music mogul is being held without bail following his arrest in September in a federal sex trafficking case. Combs has pleaded not guilty. His trial is set for May.
A new trial date is announced by the judge. The courtroom was bustling with bustle when Diddy Combs' new trial date was revealed. This decision gives the defense and prosecution a chance to reconsider their strategies in light of mounting evidence and heightened public scrutiny. The judge said that the need for additional evidence review and witness preparation were the main reasons for the rescheduling. This new timeline is likely to have an impact on one of Hollywood's most anticipated court fights.
Rapper and music producer Jay-Z has been accused of assault alongside Diddy. But he's not the only celebrity that's facing accusations connected to the Sean Combs sex scandal. I've been reporting this story for a few months now. Let's dive into some of the other notable names that are connected. Oscar-winning actor Cuba Gooding Jr. is accused of groping music producer Rodney Jones while on Combs' yacht in 2023. That's according to a lawsuit filed by Jones. Cuba Gooding Jr. denies the allegations. R&B singer Aaron Hall is accused of assaulting a woman in 1990. The woman filed a lawsuit against Hall and Diddy that alleged that Combs assaulted her first. Both Hall and Diddy deny the allegations. Bad Boy Records producer Harvey Pierre, Diddy, and an unnamed person were sued by Anna Kane, the ex-wife of an NHL player. Kane alleged that the three gang raped her when she was just 17 years old after they trafficked her across state lines in 2003. Pierre denies the allegations. Diddy's son, Christian Combs, was accused of groping and assaulting a woman who was working on a yacht leased by Diddy in 2022. She says she was given a spiked shot of tequila and that she told the captain, but that he was paid by Diddy as part of a cover-up. Rapper Young Miami, who once dated Combs, has also been named in lawsuits against Diddy. She was accused of being a part of his sex trafficking operation. Another allegation claims that she harassed a woman who was assaulted and impregnated by Diddy to have an abortion.
The prosecution faces serious legal repercussions, which gives them an opportunity to bolster their case and ensure Diddy's team has compelling counter-arguments. There may be more time to study the evidence and develop rebuttals if the timetable is extended. The announcement has already been made by media sites, with headlines speculating on how the postponement would impact the outcome. As this tremendous legal drama unfolds and Diddy loses, both fans and critics are now marking the event on their calendars. Diddy is being charged with major offenses, such as racketeering and coercion. Every charge carries significant legal and reputational consequences. Diddy might be sentenced to years in prison if convicted, and the charges against Rico would make the penalty even harsher. In addition, his empire and the legacy he had built over decades would be destroyed by the trial.
There's no doubt in my mind that Sean Combs felt that he was above the law for many, many years. There was an early case against him, a criminal case, where he was acquitted. And I think that made him feel emboldened and empowered that he could get away with anything. I know that some of the people who worked for him have said that made them terrified that the law was just not going to come for him. There was not going to be any accountability. I think we might see more criminal charges to come. Dawn has cooperated with the Department of Justice. She's sat and answered questions. I assume other people probably have as well. So that could very well be forthcoming. I think there will be more civil suits as well. People have more control over a civil suit. I have no doubt that there are hundreds more people who have these types of allegations of assault, physical violence, threats, sex trafficking against Sean Combs and people associated with him, and that many are just too afraid to come forward, or that they signed NDAs and they think they have no right.
Diddy's once dazzling reputation is being threatened, as seen by the withdrawal of brands and the decline in endorsements. There are differing opinions among fans. Some back the mogul due to his cultural and musical accomplishments, even while some are condemning him and demanding that he be held accountable for the alleged crimes. The stakes are quite high. The prosecution is making every effort to establish a solid case against Diddy, including acquiring financial documents, victim statements, and incriminating recordings that purport to demonstrate a pattern of wrongdoing, in addition to emails and messages that offer a digital trail linking Diddy to coercive and manipulative actions. These components are intended to be combined by prosecutors into an engaging story that exposes systematic abuse of power.
He's going to plead not guilty, obviously. He's going to fight this with all of his energy and all of his might and the full confidence of his lawyers. And I expect a long battle with a good result for Mr. Combs.
Do you think he'll be released?
I'm going to fight like hell to get him released, and he should be released with all that he's done and coming here voluntarily.
You said the police were working with you on this case. You wanted to get the report. We talked about this. You said things were going smoothly, but now it's not. So when did that change?
Last night, actually, I got an email from them, the county, not the city police, that then said I needed a subpoena to get the records, which I think we all know about Freedom of Information Act, which requires public information be given freely. That's why it's a federal law. So I've never experienced in any situation where I have been told I needed a subpoena to get public information. I was floored, I was shocked, and it was apparent to me that some type of cover-up is going on. The Orinda police are in violation of federal law, and I will make sure if they want to be the next facing a lawsuit, they can be the next.
The focus on NDAs as weapons of silence is intended to weaken the defense's claims while spotlighting the alleged misuse of contracts to shield misbehavior, bolstering the RICO allegations. The prosecution has reportedly spent months preparing their testimonies to survive cross-examination. This technique relies heavily on witnesses, who might include both I&D industry insiders and alleged victims. Instead of depicting Diddy as a lone criminal, prosecutors hope to show him as the leader of a criminal operation. The goal of defense tactics is to deny the charges, discrediting witnesses to portray them as unreliable or motivated by self-interest is one of the primary strategies used by Diddy's defense team to overcome the prosecution's well-prepared case. It is expected that the defense will challenge the evidence's legality and chain of custody, including digital recordings and correspondence.
In March of this year, special agents from HSI executed search warrants at Combs' residences in Miami and Los Angeles. They also executed a warrant for Combs' electronic devices. During those searches, agents seized evidence of the crimes charged in this indictment. They seized firearms and ammunition, including 3 defaced AR-15s and a large capacity drum magazine. They also seized evidence of the freak-offs, electronic devices that contain images and videos of the freak-offs with multiple victims. And they seized cases of the kinds of personal lubricant and baby oil that Combs' staff allegedly used to stock hotel rooms for the freak-offs, more than 1,000 bottles altogether.
Why are we having this pushed again? I mean, it does need time, right?
Yeah, I think this is an important issue for the judge to determine. At the end of the day, I think it's really difficult for judges to put someone to detain a defendant pre-trial. At the end of the day, though, particularly with a case of this severity, the judge is weighing whether or not he obviously thinks that the defendant is going to flee, in this case Combs, or whether or not Combs is a danger to the community.
Right.
What the government is attempting to do now is to not only demonstrate that he's a risk of flight and that he's a danger to the community, but that continuously, since before even the investigation, Combs has been obstructing justice.
So if he doesn't make it this time, will a 5th bail attempt happen? You can keep trying and trying.
You can keep trying and trying, and he's probably going to go to the Second Circuit and do an appeal and see what the Court of Appeals has to say about it. Even if he doesn't win there, I wouldn't be surprised if they continue to try.
Do you have a prediction?
I think given the seriousness of the offenses and the evidence that the government has proffered, it's unlikely that he's going to be released.
Another key component of their strategy is to repair Diddy's reputation by presenting him as a misunderstood individual who has been singled out by the media and dubious figures. The defense wants the jurors to sympathize with them. Their argument may also depend on pointing out legal details, such procedural errors or insufficient evidence collection. Lineup of the testifying witnesses. The trial promises a star-studded witness lineup with significant figures from the entertainment industry scheduled to testify, and prosecutors will call on the accused victims, former employees and insiders that have inside knowledge of Diddy's operations in order to give a complete account of the alleged misconduct. Their statements may be quite important.
Well, Andy, everything so far is going very smoothly, but you can be sure that's going to change in the months ahead as they get close to that May trial date. But Sean Diddy Combs got a break today from the dismal lockdown atmosphere of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn by appearing here in federal court for this pretrial hearing in his federal sex trafficking RICO case. Now, he won't be going home for the holidays. He's been denied bail 3 times. That didn't stop him from hugging every single member of his legal team. Now, let me show you some of the video from today. His son, Christian Combs, who he's very close to and actually created music and some hit songs with, known professionally as King Combs, was once again at the federal court to support his dad, flying in from Los Angeles to let his father know he was still in his corner and to show everyone that he was standing by him. Coming into the courtroom, the disgraced music mogul, Diddy looked a little rough around the edges compared to how he usually has been looking in these court.
The defense may call witnesses, including friends, business acquaintances, and experts, to vouch for Diddy's altruism and deny the accusations made by the prosecution. Celebrity testimony is still a wild card that might help or hurt Diddy's case, as there are reports that celebrities like Jay-Z or Usher would be subpoenaed if they testify.
Well, they get a little bit of a break. Of course, Diddy doesn't. He's locked down at the Metropolitan Detention Center, the notorious MDC, we call it. But in terms of the legal team, they're still going to be working because the judge gave them until New Year's Eve, December 31st, to give for each side to give the other side all of the evidence that they have gathered. Now, there are terabytes of digital evidence, and it keeps pouring in. And then also, Andy, but there's a big X factor here, and that is the ongoing criminal investigation, the ongoing grand jury that is hearing new evidence. So there can be a superseding indictment, meaning more charges, possibly more co-conspirators added at any particular time. So I think there was an effort today to get things smooth and on track and keep it that way through the holidays. But I think as we get closer to that May trial date, we can start to see some fireworks erupting in that courtroom as they fight over what that jury is going to be able to see and not be able to see. Andy?
Yeah, that is a very good point. This case might be decided even before the jury walks in the room in terms of what is allowed in this case.
Will Jay-Z and other well-known individuals testify? The Fifth Amendment plays a significant role in this case, since celebrities may claim their protection against self-incrimination if they are compelled to testify. Public interest in the courtroom drama would increase as a result, and the pressure from the prosecution to get testimony heightens the tension, with the media keeping a careful eye on every step. Because of his ties to Diddy, Jay-Z's potential involvement in the trial has been the subject of media conjecture, prompting inquiries about whether he would be asked to testify.
The federal indictment was unsealed, and this is what we know. He has been charged with federal trafficking and racketeering charges. The sweeping 14-page complaint unsealed in court after Sean Diddy Combs was arrested in New York City last night. This details allegations dating back to 2009, the indictment accusing him of abusing, threatening, and coercing women for years to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct. What we know about the arrest happened last night in New York City at the Park Hyatt Hotel. It comes roughly 6 months after federal authorities conducted a sex trafficking investigation raiding 2 of his luxury homes in Los Angeles and Miami. The lawyer for Sean Diddy Combs is calling this new indictment unjust prosecution. going on to say that he is an imperfect person, but he is not a criminal. And he says Combs has been cooperating with the investigation.
Evidence draw attention to the most damning elements. In order to create an unquestionable case, prosecutors must provide a wide range of compelling evidence, including digital correspondence, bank records, photographs, and audio recordings. An explanation of Diddy's alleged misconduct that connects him to the charge's private event footage and taped chats may offer uncensored insights of the alleged behavior. Allegations of coercion and cover-ups are supported by financial evidence, such as payments made to victims or associates. Diddy was further connected to the events being investigated by emails and messages, and the jury may be influenced for some time by visual evidence.
Look, Brianna, so Combs' team says that those allegations about those phone calls and tampering with witnesses from behind bars, they say that that is not true. They are denying all of that. There have been filings flying left and right. Today, we've had 2 new filings. Last night, there was an additional filing where they spoke about that video that you just referenced, Brianna. So Combs' team, they are working very hard to try to get him released. As you said, this is going to be his 3rd bail hearing. We'll see if 3rd time's a charm, but right now what we see here is some screenshots from that disturbing video that our team broke here at CNN. Now, what Combs' team is saying in this filing is that prosecutors, they claim that they submitted a version of that video that our team released. Now, we have not seen that alleged video that prosecutors submitted to the court for these bail proceedings.
The role of NDA in revealing or defending the truth non-disclosure agreements, his alleged use of Mendes to silence victims and protect his reputation has drawn harsh criticism, and they have grown to be an important part of the trial. In an effort to discredit these agreements, prosecutors will argue that they were coercive measures used to suppress unfavorable reports and maintain a facade of legality. Prosecutors believe that NDAs could be essential in demonstrating that they were signed under duress or as part of a broader pattern of deception, allowing victims to testify without fear of legal repercussions. This might set a standard for how NDAs are viewed going forward, particularly in the entertainment sector.
Joey, about those personal notes, the prosecution has argued that this was a previously scheduled search. I'm wondering how a judge goes about determining where to land on whether these notes are actually admissible, and do you expect that the phone calls that he's apparently made, allegedly made, to be significant? These like 3-way calls to try to convince witnesses to do one thing or another.
So Boris, everything has a context, right? And so when you evaluate the context, let's look at the notes. Yes, it could have been a pre-planned search, and it's important to search in jails. Safety and security is preeminent. You want to ensure that. But when you get notes and other materials that could be subject to attorney-client relationship, there should be a filter team. That is a team of prosecutors who have experience to go over those records to determine whether or not they could be usable. Now, those prosecutors generally are unrelated to the case. They'll look through it and they'll parse out the material. And if it could be given over to the other side, who's on the case, they'll do that.
In a case as well known as this, it is difficult to find an impartial jury. Attorneys on both sides will carefully evaluate potential jurors in an attempt to minimize bias and ensure a fair trial. Preconceived ideas about Diddy and worries about their media exposure will be in order to ensure that the seriousness of the charges is not overwhelmed by the influence of celebrities. Prosecutors will seek out individuals who appreciate justice and accountability. Finding jurors who are sympathetic to Diddy's account and skeptical of the prosecution's claims is the defense.
Yeah, good morning to you, Craig and Vanessa. This is the 3rd attempt to try and get that bail package through. This time, the lawyers offering $50 million to see if Sean Diddy Combs can essentially pay his way out of prison. The bigger play, though, this morning, attorneys signaling they may try to have this entire case tossed or have a change in prosecutors. This comes after a victory just days ago where those same lawyers successfully had evidence against Diddy tossed. Evidence that prosecutors wanted to use to show that Combs is still able to allegedly wield power to silence his victims and witnesses from Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, where he has been since September. Prosecutors have now been ordered to destroy copies of notes that they seized when corrections officers swept Diddy's cell, part of a jail-wide sweep of all prisoners. Diddy's lawyers successfully arguing prosecutors had no legal right to see it or to use it, but prosecutors say those notes show he'd been in touch with a witness and suggested the former rapper was trying to pay this woman off to change her story to benefit him on his upcoming trial on sex trafficking and racketeering. Among the prosecutor's allegations, the defendant has continued to engage in a relentless course of obstructive justice designed to subvert the integrity of these proceedings. The defendant has shown repeatedly, even while in custody, that he will flagrantly and repeatedly flout rules in order to improperly impact the outcome of his case. They say that materials that they had seized showed that Combs had been in touch with his family to try to allegedly affect these changes, and also that he even used his children to create social media posts, to create a social media campaign surrounding this trial, which is meant to start in May. We are live in Lower Manhattan, where Sean Diddy Combs will be later this morning. I'm Kirsten Cole, Pix 11 News. Back to you, Craig and Vanessa.
Public and media reactions, as well as interest in the trial. There has already been a lot of public debate about the trial, with both supporters and critics arguing over Diddy's guilt or innocence. The swarm of trending discussions and hashtags on social media platforms reflects the trial's cultural relevance. A sizable throng is expected to attend the courtroom itself, and live television is likely to add to the spectacle. Media narratives have a significant impact on public opinion, and tabloid blogs and mainstream news organizations are closely examining every aspect, from witness lists to evidence leaks. The response from the entertainment industry has been more subdued, with many celebrities choosing to say nothing instead of supporting or condemning Diddy's trial. There are several possible outcomes for the trial, thus its future is still uncertain. A conviction might lead to Diddy's career ending, serious legal ramifications, and irreparable damage to his reputation. A mistrial or hung jury would keep the case open, but even if the stain of the charges remained, a penny might provide him a chance at redemption. Escalating the drama and drawing greater interest plea deals, which could provide Diddy a way out but raise questions about the victim's entitlement to justice, are also being examined.
Continue our attention of a major headline taking place in New York City and the pre-trial hearing continuing on in this Sean Diddy Combs case. A pre-trial hearing taking place some 138 days before trial. Let's be joined right now here on the ground in New York by Fox 5's Lisa Evers. Lisa, thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. What can you tell us about what took place inside that courtroom today?
Well, Andy, everything so far is going very smoothly, but you can be sure that's going to change in the months ahead as they get close to that May trial date. But Sean Diddy Combs got a break today from the dismal lockdown atmosphere of the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn by appearing here in federal court for this pretrial hearing in his federal sex trafficking RICO case. Now, he won't be going home for the holiday. Prosecutors gave him that he can look at and have access to in the jail. The prosecution will most likely be allowed to present that horrific video we all saw of Diddy beating Cassie Ventura in the hotel hallway. Images that many say are impossible to unsee or forget. That video is pivotal to prosecutors who are trying to portray Diddy as a violent man capable of running this sex trafficking enterprise. It presents a challenge for his defense team too. Here's what legal commentator and criminal defense attorney Philip Hamilton had to say on the subject. He is not connected with a particular case. Here's his comment.
And if at the end of the day, they don't like your client, maybe they're not listening to your defense because their minds have already been made up. So the defense is certainly going to have to jump the PR hurdle here in order to be able to effectuate what it is that Diddy wants, which is a win. And that in many respects is going to take a lot of energy out of them. But with the defense team that he's put together, I don't have any doubt that they have the competency and the ability to fight at the highest of levels for him.
And he does, Andy, have a very high-powered legal defense team, 5 people in court every single time that we're seeing them, many more behind the scenes. But prosecutors also have a very tough team, top-notch, as well as mountains of evidence. And Andy, one of the other things that's interesting about this is I asked our legal expert, Hamilton, about all of these civil cases that just continue to mount. We hear, it seems, almost every week of a new one being filed. He said that that's bad news for Diddy, of course, because it's distracting him and his legal team. They have to answer these cases.
Prosecutor as well. Joey, thanks so much for being with us. This is Sean Combs' third try to get out on bail. Do you think he has a better chance this time around?
So he may, Boris. Good to be with you. And here's why. You heard Elizabeth reference the issue of the recording, and here's why it's significant in terms of its manipulation. Just to reset, the critical to his denial on bail were really 2 factors. The one factor related to him being a danger to the community. The other factor being how he would potentially obstruct witnesses. Now, critical in the prosecutor's arguments at those previous hearings was the fact that there's this tape that everyone has seen, and they said, prosecutors did, that tape was in the context of a freak-off. It was in the context of sex trafficking. It was in the context of him being violent as it related to that count in the indictment against Miss Ventura, right, who's referred to as victim 1. But here now comes the defense saying, hey, by the way, the prosecution has misled you, court. This had nothing to do with a freak-off, as is alleged, which were the parties that he was allegedly having, that is P. Diddy, with all of these instances going on with coerced sexual activity, etc., had nothing to do with that. It also had nothing to do with sex trafficking. This was a domestic dispute. Now, it doesn't make the violence in the tape, Boris, any more tenable, right? Violence is violence. It shouldn't happen, but it gives it context. Now, when you get down to the manipulation of the tape, the reordering of the tape, did you mislead the court? If they did, that's a factual question.
Testimony under pressure. Who is in charge? The outcome of the trial will depend on the evidence of key witnesses who were directly aware of Diddy's alleged behavior. It is anticipated that whistleblowers in the entertainment sector will divulge startling information regarding the murky aspects of the business. Their disclosures will expose long-hidden practices and offer a rare glimpse into the inner workings of power institutions. Victim testimony, which recount first-hand accounts of coercion, threats, and manipulation, will be important to humanizing the case and highlighting the seriousness of the charges. Diddy's former associates, employees, business partners, and collaborators are expected to testify, regardless of whether they agree with the prosecution or the defense. Their information will be essential in clarifying the events under investigation.
Day will come. We will name names other than Sean Combs, and there's a lot of names. It's a long list already. And of course, I already know who some of these individuals are, but because of the nature of this case, we're going to make damn sure that we're right before we do that. But the names that we're going to name, assuming that our investigators confirm and corroborate what we've been told, are names that will shock you.
Diddy's Los Angeles and Miami mansions raided by SWAT teams. His sons, Justin and King, in handcuffs in their own yard. Homeland Security tells ET the bi-coastal operation is part of an ongoing investigation.
More money, more problems.
We don't know if the embattled music mogul was home during either raid. ET's reached out to Diddy's reps for comment. Meanwhile, a police presence swarming his high-end Beverly Hills neighborhood. Officers going room to room, carrying zip ties and serious firepower. In the driveway, law enforcement vehicles parking next to, we assume, Diddy's luxury cars. Then, of course, his 2 sons, 30-year-old Justin and 25-year-old King. At one point, they seem to be sharing a laugh. It's also worth noting, Homeland Security tackles sex trafficking crimes, something Diddy was accused of in a lawsuit by his ex Cassie back in November.
Guys, have you seen what you need to sign if you go to a Diddy party? Welcome to Popcorn Planet. I am Andy Signor. This is nuts. This has been out for a while, but I've never actually looked at it, and I started highlighting it, and I realized I have to highlight the whole damn thing. This is the most overreaching, craziest non-disclosure agreement I've ever seen, and I want to read it with you guys so you guys get a little bit more of an idea of how crazy this all is. So this is a standard Sean Combs Diddy NDA. let's read this together, okay? So you can see how controlling, how wild, how evasive, how crazy it is. So this is a confidentiality agreement that's signed by parties he has over, I imagine. The term you, as in the person signing, shall include you, your estate, each corporation or business entity which you have ownership or beneficial interest in, and any all person entities owned or controlled by you, businesses, affiliates, employees, officers, directors, managers, accountants, agents, all your respective heirs, like people, kids, etc., executors, representatives, administrators, employees, licensed successors, anybody who could ever be with you, speak for you, family, friend, doesn't matter. They have now all signed this NDA with you. Wild. For good and valuable consideration, collectively consideration, the recipients officially of which hereby acknowledged you irrevocably agree as follows. Sean Diddy Combs, aka Puff Daddy Artist. Privacy is highly valued, and all efforts will be made to maintain confidentiality with respect to all information and other material of any kind. So what's that include? Without limitation, terms, conditions, existence, and disagreement concerning or related to directly and indirectly artist, person, corporation, including without limitation, family members, relatives, past or present, fiancés, husbands, wives, boyfriends, girlfriends, friends, and business associates. Artist parties, and each artist party, except for information or publicly made intentionally by artists, by Diddy, you hereby irrevocably agree that you shall not at any time use or disclose directly or indirectly to anyone any of the following information, any information acquired by you in any manner or by any medium or means whatsoever at any time, past, present, or future, which concerns or in any way relates to artist, any artist party, or any artist business activities, entertainment activities, financial affairs, and/or personal life. And all such information shall be deemed confidential, private, secret, and sensitive, and kept by you as confidential unless artist otherwise advises you in writing by his sole discretion. Any and all information, including, without limitation, pictures, recordings, records, documents, property, merchandise related to artists and personal, professional, and other activities at artist or parties, whether prepared on behalf of you or otherwise coming into your possession.
As Diddy faces a new wave of over 120 new sexual assault allegations, this affair has also been accompanied by a flood of misinformation on social media, including Justin Bieber, who is at the heart of many speculations and conspiracy theories as to what happened at the beginning of his career when P. Diddy acted as Bieber's mentor and helped launch the pop star's career at the age of 15. Going viral on TikTok, Instagram, X, YouTube, you name it. This song that users say was released by Justin Bieber back in April and that has now resurfaced following P. Diddy's arrest in September. Here, viewed over 7 million times on this post on TikTok alone, but seen millions of times across all over the social media platforms. Let's take a short listen to this song that may sound like Justin Bieber. You can hear the lyrics of the song. Let's take a listen. So as you can see, the lyrics of the song allegedly include "Lost myself at a Diddy party," where the song appears to make reference to allegations of sexual abuse and other misconduct at the P. Diddy residence.
Is there any way then to prove the veracity of the song, Catalina?
Well, a song that sounds like Justin Bieber, but the song is likely fake. Firstly, there's no concrete evidence to prove the existence of this song, including no official confirmation from credible sources or news outlets. This song does not even appear on Justin Bieber's official catalog of music on his website. We put the song through an AI detection tool that determined that this song is actually likely to be AI generated. Additionally, for example, on this video that we just saw circulating on X, we found anomalies on the people's faces in the clip. You could see anomalies in the eyes, anomalies in the faces that don't even seem human, as well as what is allegedly P. Diddy's face. You can see anomalies in his thumb and his mouth. So all indications that this audio and video.
The foundation for Diddy's funeral is being laid by the prosecution, who are building a solid case that will dispel any room for doubt. The RICO charges, which show a pattern of exploitation and abuse that establishes Diddy as the mastermind of a criminal enterprise, are their primary focus. They aim to discredit Diddy's public persona by demonstrating that his actions were not isolated but rather were a component of a larger scheme to maintain control and quell criticism. Prosecutors will highlight past behaviors that contradict his painstakingly crafted image, including exposing instances of misconduct and hypocrisy and using NDAs to suppress unfavorable material. They will use recordings to provide compelling proof, financial records and testimonies that show an unavoidable pattern of abuse. Since his last stand salutations marry strategies as the trial continues, Diddy's legal team is under a lot of strain, and part of their strategy is likely to be to claim that crucial information was not admissible due to improper or unreliable methods of acquisition. They will question the motives and integrity of witnesses by portraying them as opportunists seeking money or fame. The defense may also attempt to apportion blame by identifying additional Diddy Circle members who may have been involved in the alleged misconduct. By attempting to create a reasonable doubt, this tactic will make it more difficult for the jury to find the defendant guilty on a unanimous verdict. Additionally, public relations efforts will be essential since the defense will employ media campaigns to sway public opinion in Diddy's favor. The final choice: how will Diddy fare once the trial is over? Everyone will be watching to see what the jury decides. A guilty decision would mark the demise of one of the most recognizable personalities in the music business, leading to harsh legal sanctions and irreversible harm to his reputation. On the other hand, Diddy's acquittal might provide him with a route to redemption, even though the accusation's specter may persist for years and the trial's effects are long-lasting. In addition to Diddy, it compels Hollywood to face its culture of concealment and impunity, motivating additional victims to come forward and pressing the sector to adopt changes. Celebrities engaged in the trial can also risk backlash as the public asks for better responsibility and openness.
Excuse me, are we back up, please? So get this out, I'll get out of here.
Spending the holidays. How are you feeling today?
Everything you need to know about the latest developments in Diddy's case, including the new trial date and potential results, is right here. It is anticipated that this case would alter Hollywood's responsibility norms. Please click the like button if you felt this breakdown was informative. We appreciate your time and hope to see you in the next video. To ensure you don't miss any updates, please subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.